And now we're going to switch in English because we're going to invite our next speaker that comes directly from Gartner. So we have with us Mr. Radek Motz, okay? Executive partner for Gartner. Radek, thank you very much for being with us today. Good.
Okay. Good morning. Can you hear me? Perfect. So I'm coming from Gartner to present you the top predictions for 2023 and beyond. Who of you was here last year? We have already heard it for previous year from my colleague. So I am going to follow up to present the top predictions, which is always a nice exercise of being collaborative and also courageous. Collaborative means that in such an exercise, all the Gartner analysts, or almost all the Gartner analysts, which is more than 2,500, are involved in. And courageous means that we must predict something that is not obvious, so we cannot be afraid of such a predictions. It would be quite easy to, let's say, predict something obvious, but it will all be true. And we have quite good track record from the past. Roughly 75 to 80% of our predictions come true. Who of you are coming to the Gartner Symposium? We are transparently showing what predictions came true and in what predictions we were wrong. This year is about the topic how we seize uncertainty. Maybe I will start with a question. Who of you predicted that war in Ukraine will continue to 2024? One, maybe two hands. Second question, who predicted the crisis in Israel? Almost nobody. So we have one candidate who can become Gartner analyst here. So we are living in unpredictable times. Nobody can predict, almost nobody can predict what will happen next year, what will happen next month, or even tomorrow. So that's why we need to work with such a situation. The title of the presentation calls Seize Uncertainty. It's quite silly because if something is uncertain, how can we seize it? Usually we as human beings would like to, let's say, seize something that is tangible. And uncertainty is not too much tangible for us. So that's why Gartner is making these predictions to help you to focus on the things and turn them into a certainty or even an opportunity that is more easily to be seized. According to a last supervisory board survey from Gartner, 30% of board members said that economic uncertainty is one of the top 3 external threats to the companies in terms of growth. Every company wants to grow, but it is becoming a frightening prospect, mainly because of the digitalization and huge technical innovation that is in place. Every company wants to grow, and on the other side, every company wants not to lose the ground under their feet. So how to tackle that? The best way to tackle such a situation is to try to turn the uncertainty into the path we can more predict. It means that we need to reimagine our assumptions. So every CIO needs to change the assumptions to be more in the space everybody understands. I will be going through the presentation in 3 categories. So we have realized that these predictions, and you will see all of them as a list, kind of fall into one of three categories. The first category or first area of uncertainty is becoming from the talents. Now is becoming completely risky for us. The discussion about with whom we will work, how we work, and how we, for example, retain the employees. So this is kind of risky for almost all the companies right now on the market. Second one is nice one, and it's that customers and inhabitants are shifting the power between themselves and the products or services or technology providers. I will go into the details there, but it is clearly visible that the power is now being shifted towards the customers. And second and third one is the growth, mainly in terms of that all the companies now need, because of the economic instability, all the companies need to make a decision if to invest into the cost saving or if to invest into the innovation. So this is the third area of predictions, and we will go through this one by one. So these are all the predictions, and it's coming from the metaverse. Probably you discussed it here last time with my colleague, through the employees, customers, and also the technology. So there are these three areas of predictions. Because of the time, I will not go through all of this, but I will go through these six that are highlighted on the screen. The first category, new styles, locations, and sources of work are removing the way the talent is valued. Every company now admits that employee is the biggest asset of theirs. But crucial question is how we get employees, how we retain them, and how we make them happy that they are giving the value to the company and companies become successful. So because of the metaverse, I have prepared one slide in terms of what the metaverse really is in the area of working. So there are three stages as Gartner sees in the, let's say, shift from the physical world to the metaverse world. The first stage is called in-room. So everybody, mainly prior to the COVID, was coming to the office. We had normal meetings, we had collaboration between people, and we delivered results. It helped the companies to, let's say, build the culture of the company. It was quite easy because it was everybody was in touch with each other, and also the employees could build their communities inside the work to, let's say, make teamwork better. After that came COVID, and it changed completely the way how we are working. And we are now, I would say, in stage 2, because not everybody wants to get back into the office. And I believe that most of you have the experience that half of the people on the meeting is sitting in the office with some audiovisual technology, and half of the people is sitting at home. And it's quite difficult to understand, for example, the chit-chats of the people in the meeting room. It's difficult to watch if they are drawing something on the whiteboard, or even still the technology has the problem with full duplex voice. So if somebody is talking, your speech is not heard. So there is plenty of improvements that needs to be done in such a stage. And it causes that people working from the distance, they are feeling themselves as kind of second-class citizen. And this potentially will be resolved in stage 3, where we can imagine that the technology will evolve in the direction where we will be really able to collaborate. We will see the whiteboards on the screens. We can even contribute to the whiteboards drawings, and we will, let's say, feel a fully immersive virtual life. And this is how, let's say, Gartner sees the development from the physical world to the metaverse. I believe that last year you were discussing it as well. So prediction number one is the metaverse, or that fully virtual workspaces will account for 30% of the investment growth in metaverse technologies. One question, who was in metaverse in last 2 days? Nobody. So what are current drivers of the technology in metaverse? Can you tell me, what do you believe? Which industry is now heavily investing into these technologies? The first one is gaming. So you probably all have children with the goggles, virtual reality goggles, and they are in reality living in metaverse. So the game fully takes them in, and they completely are out of the physical space, and they are fully dedicated to that. There is second industry, which I will not talk about because it's kind of weird. It's porn. But okay. So what that prediction means, it means that we need to think how this technology needs to be evolved in terms of making people connected via the technology feel better. And our recommendation is, when you are, let's say, planning the investments into the office equipment and into this improvement of such a technology, think about it not from the perspective how we work today and copy it into the virtual world. We can think about that in a completely different way. Imagine a company that is doing a construction and they are having an accident. In normal life, the experts on the construction site will take all the data, will prepare all the materials for a decision, bring it into the meeting. There is huge discussion, calculations, comparisons, and the discussion takes quite long because nobody in the meeting room can imagine how the accident really looks like on the construction site. But the new technology can really allow us to feel the experience. It can take us, all of them, to the construction site. The engineer can take us through all the problems and discuss them in reality. So everybody will be directly involved and will see what is the problem, and the decision will be much faster. So the recommendation is, in case you have something like, let's say, work equipment strategy, integrate into that your innovative ideas, how to improve such a technology, and work with the technology providers to build it according to your needs. And what I believe, every industry or every company will have slightly different requirements. But now is the time that we can push the vendors to really build it according to our needs. Excuse me. So next one is a pay gap. I have another question. Please raise your hand who is paid fairly. And if you have a boss sitting next to you, don't raise your hand that you have a good space for salary increase discussion. So who believes that he's paid fairly? I was expecting more hands. Okay, so now it will be difficult with the second question, or maybe even more easy. Who believes that everybody gets paid fairly? Okay, so in the first question, we have roughly 4 hands up, 5 hands up, including me, 6. But nobody raised his or her hand in terms of everybody gets paid fairly. And this is really the problem. It's not only about women, where according to Gartner research, there is a pay gap between women and men, 18%. But it's also about a pay gap, which I believe is present on most of the European markets between the employees that work long for the company and the newly coming employees. The newly coming employees are receiving, let's say, competitive salary, but the long-term employees are, let's say, kept down and can feel, let's say, remunerated unfairly. And this situation causes a couple of problems. This situation causes resignations of the employees, employees burnout and quiet quitting. And it means that companies are having financial losses. So if they do not have motivated employees, they do not have, let's say, the efficiency and productivity as they would expect. So that's why we believe that the pay gap needs to be, let's say, completely diminished. So everybody needs to be paid equally according to what he provided the company. But it's quite difficult because we are not able to say according to what the fairness should be set up. Should it be gender? Should it be time spent in the office? Or should it be, let's say, the value the employee provides? It's quite difficult and it needs to be discussed. So that's why our recommendation is start working on preparation of methods which are consistent and transparent, how to measure what is the real pay gap you have in the company, and also prepare the way how to, let's say, put into the life the policies that employees will see how it will improve. Also for example, for the employees from the perspective of, let's say, annual salary increase connected somehow to the inflation. Next recommendation is that managers and leaders should be courageous and step into this exercise. That everybody who is leading people should be involved, because this is not only an HR responsibility, it is a responsibility of all of us. And now, because this conference is about intelligentsia, sorry, I remembered it, but I forgot. So artificial intelligence, I have one prediction also regarding this, or two predictions in reality. And this is from a completely different perspective. The prediction is about that by 2025, without sustainable AI practices, artificial intelligence will consume more energy than the average European state. Why is that? It's because currently we are, let's say, adopting artificial intelligence to augment the employee work or to, let's say, improve productivity. But on the other side, it does not lead into the, let's say, expecting savings, in this case, connected, let's say, to staff reduction. I mean, the human workforce. AI is, let's say, invested into within a certain business case, but the business case is not paid off. So that's why we need to really be careful of this. All the companies are investing into that, and proper AI needs huge amount of data, and proper AI needs huge computing power, and this means power consumption. Part of our predictions is also that in case it will continue in, let's say, unsustainable way, in 2030, AI will consume 3.5% of whole electricity consumption in the whole world, 3.5%. So that's why the recommendation from Gartner is to tackle that from several layers of perspective. The first one is governance. Really try to measure the return on investment of AI including the power consumption in this case, and compare it with the benefits. And as in other projects, which is usually a struggle for the companies, make the decision, cancel this use case and work on another use case, but really to remove the specifics, let's say, implementation behind the specific AI use case from the production and work on another one. Second one is from the perspective of infrastructure. So recommendation is use the dedicated hardware that is optimized for AI, like GPUs, because the traditional computing techniques are simply has a huge power consumption. And the third one is, of course, only in case you are not just a user of ChatGPT. ChatGPT runs in the cloud. You do not need, let's say, to build your own large language model. So this is not the case. But if you are working on your own large language models, on your own use cases, this is the way of approach you should select. And last one is train your employees to, let's say, think about if they cannot reuse the data that are already existing, or train them how to build the algorithms that are more power efficient. This prediction I like the most. As I said in the beginning, the power of consumers are really increasing because of the social networks. You can imagine companies coming with new product that is more expensive than the previous one, but is more crappy. Immediately, the influencers are publishing their videos. Immediately, influencers are publishing their videos and providing the review. Customers are changing the buying habits and don't buy the product. Or let's imagine that, for example, telco company, I believe you don't have O2 on this market. So I will use O2. So imagine that O2 is increasing unexpectedly the prices of the rate plan, and immediately huge amount of social networks comment are running out, and it is endangering the brand of the respective company. And this specific prediction is something about what we call customer denial of service. For example, I will again use O2. List of customer will come to his Alexa and say, hey, Alexa, can you shut down the O2 website? And it can happen. Based on our prediction, in 2024, one of major service provider website will be shut off because of this customer attack. And this is a threat to the companies. We should tackle that as a threat. So the recommendation is go to Chief Security and Information Officer and discuss what technology you have in place and work with him and together with the technology providers how to resolve such a situation with existing technology, or if you will need a new technology. So I need to speed up. I have last 5 minutes, sorry. Next prediction is already the technology one, and this is about the consolidation on the IT environment. It was present all the times before, but it is now even more present because the big cloud service providers, together with independent software vendors, are delivering so-called pre-integrated solutions. And this will lead to a situation that these global scaled providers will have the power to buy these companies, and even there is a new startup, it will not have enough time to grow into a big company to be kind of competitive. So that's why we as IT leaders face the situation where we will have 30% less suppliers. And we need to react on that. And the suggestion is really plan it in your strategy. Try to connect with other customers to a lobby communities and try to push the vendors into the way that the service provided to you satisfies your needs. And last one, that was the comment to this slide. And last one is the IT globalization about sovereignty. You know that governments are pushing the data sovereignty and customer identity sovereignty into the law simply. And this is becoming a problem for the global scale cloud providers, mainly because they designed the service in the way that it is not prepared architecturally for this. By the way, do you know how many global scaled cloud providers do we have in Europe? 0. We have 0. So top 10 global scale cloud providers are from US or from China, which is creating a big problem for us Europeans. And connected with this incidents all over the world, we cannot simply sustain the situation that one of the scale providers will say, let's shut down this country, and we will lose all the services that runs our business. So that's why the recommendation is, and also governments are pushing it right now, mainly EU, but also, for example, Germany. They push the vendors, and vendors are also seeking for this, to partner with local provider who is like strong enough, for example, in Germany, T-Systems, to deliver the service for you using the global scale provider. So they will, for example, have 50% share on this specific local provider. And this is the recommendation. Join this initiative and push your vendors to partner with global scale providers which are delivering this service to you. And it can increase, let's say, the trust to a cloud services itself. So this is the end of my presentation. The future is ours, of course. And there is also some Gartner research that you can use for further reading.
Thank you very much, Radek. Absolutely very interesting presentation. Big round of applause, guys. Now, thank you. So if I understood exactly, everybody's going to go to Metaverse pretty soon. And paycheck finally will be solved. Paycheck gap. So that 18% between men and women will be finally over in the next 3 or 4 years. And very interesting, 3.5% of the total consumption, energy total consumption will come from the AI, right?
So in 2030.
Do you think this is a boundary? This is a limitation, is going to stop us to go to the AI?
No. I think that it is not for us a limitation. What I believe we must really be careful of how we build the agile use cases, point 1, and point 2. Every company is now really preparing to be sustainable on the market. So it is one of the message towards the customer. So I believe that we should use AI for making, let's say, sustainability in the world and decrease the consumption in other places.
I'm also really curious. So if everybody will ask Alexa to shut down, our website, the website, the magazine, online, whatever. So who's going to be blamed for that? Is it Alexa or us?
It is my question. Of course, customers will hate companies, so that's why customers will blame us. But I believe that companies should really get prepared for that in discussion with Google, in discussion with these huge providers of such a technology, that they are somehow building the technology that will block these kind of attacks. And it means also to get into the community of lobby with other customers, because usually European countries are not so powerful to influence the roadmap of Google, for example.
Radek Moc, Executive Partner, Gartner, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you.
Foarte multe predicții, cel puțin interesante din partea lui Gartner, de care ar trebui să ținem cont sau să ne uităm asupra lor. Investiții foarte multe în metavers. Foarte interesant aceea și cu globalizarea IT-ului care nu mai este necesară. Da, toți providerii de cloud și de servicii cam vin de peste ocean.